We are back. Barack Obama under fire for a comment that he made during a sex education speech. The Illinois senator saying that he wants his daughters to be educated about sex so that they're not, quote, punished with a baby. He was speaking about parents' responsibility to talk to their kids about sex.
Look, I've got two daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old. I'm going to teach them, first of all, about values and morals. But if they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby. I don't want them punished with an STD at the age of 16. You know, so it doesn't make sense to not give them information.
All right, well, that comment rubbed some people the wrong way, and an Obama spokesman explained what Senator Obama said and what he believes is clear. Children are miracles, but we have a problem when so many children are having children. Senator Obama believes that we can all agree that we should be taking steps to reduce the number of teen pregnancies and abortions in this country. That was a quote from one of Barack Obama's spokespeople. Let's see what our A-list has to say about this one. Jason Rowe is a Republican strategist. He heard it was all women on the panel. He decided to stay in D.C. today. Hi, Jason. And we've got Kelly Goff here. She's a political analyst. Kelly Goff is also the author of the book Party Crashing. And Janine Turner is with us today. We're thrilled to have her. She's an actress and the author of Holding Her Head High, which is a really interesting book about single moms and their stories. So interesting that you're here today to talk about this. And also we have today's wild card, Gretchen Carlson, co-host of Fox and Friends in the Morning. We watch her every single morning. So Gretchen, it's great to have you here a little bit later in the afternoon today. Thanks for coming. So Janine, I'm curious about your thoughts about this. You know, it's a wide topic, of course, single motherhood. But how does it strike you, given all the research that you did in your book, what Barack Obama had to say?
Well, you know, my book is filled with a lot of courageous women who are raising children alone. And I think what starts to happen, I'm pro-life, and when a young teenage girl has a pregnancy that's occurred, you know, I think to tell her that it's a punishment is the wrong thing. It's more like, how can we lift up this child who's going to be having this baby? How can we help her be filled with hope and inspiration? And these women in the book, I have one woman in my book, Harriet Jacobs, who's a slave, and had a child at a young age, and she was determined her children were not going to be slaves, and she was a wonderful, wonderful mother with great dignity.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book, and I suggest everybody pick it up. It just has really inspiring stories about so many of the courageous single moms who are out there. Gretchen, I'm curious what you think about this politically, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, Kelly. Does this help him or hurt him with the people who are inclined to vote for Barack Obama?
I don't think it hurts the people who are, I don't think it hurts Barack Obama at all, as far as the people who are going to vote for him anyway. I think this is an off-the-cuff remark. Obviously, they wanted to clarify it immediately, and I think this just goes to show, especially with this election cycle and how close it is, that every single thing that is said is going to be examined and re-examined again. And I hope what it doesn't do is force the candidates to not speak their mind. Because if every little word is going to be parsed, that worries me.
Yeah.
Because one of the things about politics is we want them to speak more truths and how they feel.
Well, you know, and there's the possibility that, you know, that is how he feels, and that's why he said, who knows? You know, this is what the spokesman was saying. Jason, there was a recent questionnaire that was filled out that made Barack Obama appear more liberal than he claims he is in this part of the race. How does all this play together, you know, in terms of illuminating who this man is, who this candidate is, and what he believes?
Well, you know, it goes back to the fact that no one really knows anything about Barack Obama. He's been in the United States Senate for 3 years. He's running for president, and no one knows anything about him prior to that. So it's things like Jeremiah Wright that you have to analyze who Barack Obama is through the prism of Jeremiah Wright and that relationship. And it's a series of misstatements that force him to kind of have to explain who he really is. And maybe we'll find out who he is through these kinds of misstatements.
Kelly?
Well, I actually agree with pretty much everything our panel said so far. But what I will say really quickly is that, you know, I think that this really came from an important place, and I'm glad that this sparked this conversation, because AIDS is the leading cause of death for African-American women my age. Half of black girls ages 14 to 19 do have an STD in this country, according to the Centers for Disease Control. So I think it was really important that he really brought this conversation to the fore, because I think a lot of people don't know some of those numbers. And 1 in 4 girls ages 14 to 19 of all races have an STD. So it's an important conversation that we needed to have.
Indeed. All right. It sure is. Kelly, thank you. We're going to be right back up.